Welcome again to Wetpixel Live and the Wetpixel virtual trade show for 2021. I hope all of the guys at DEMA are having a great time. I'm very jealous not to be hanging out with you all. I think it'd be a wonderful thing to do. I hope you're staying safe. Obviously there still is a pandemic going on, so I hope that you're managing to stay safe even in the relatively crowded conditions in Las Vegas. Sadly, obviously, I'm not there, but if I was, one of my big jobs, typically for the second day of DEMA, although it does vary, would be to visit the team from Nauticam and hang out with, hopefully with Edward and Phoebe from Nauticam, but also with Ryan and the rest of the team. Obviously, sadly, I'm not there, but it's always a big job. They have a huge range, and they often have some very exciting new products, and so it's normally one of my bigger visits during the whole DEMA show. So, in terms of our show today, the team again have done a great job and supplied us with 3 video episodes of their new products and product developments for, I guess, for 21-22. So I'm going to introduce the first of them, and that is their first is their new housings for SLR and mirrorless cameras. So please, there's obviously a huge range of product and quite a lot of detail on this. So very, very exciting. And thanks again to Team Nauticam for sharing them with us.
The Sony Alpha 1 is the brand's flagship full-frame mirrorless camera. Designed around a new 50.1 megapixel CMOS sensor and Bion's XR processor, the Alpha 1 is truly a camera which can do it all. The 759-point fast hybrid autofocus system offers advanced subject tracking and real-time eye autofocus on both humans and animals, and optimized processing allows the Alpha 1 to achieve 30 frames per second continuous shooting at full resolution, along with recording 8K 30p and 4K 120p 10-bit video. Nauticam has supported the Sony Alpha full-frame line since the original A7 with professional-grade aluminum housings that offer intuitive access to all the controls and functions of the cameras. Ergonomic camera control access is one of the defining strengths of a Nauticam housing, and the NA Alpha 1 continues this tradition. The NA Alpha 1 also features dual rear thumb levers that are easily reached from the handle that access 3 of the most used controls on the rear of the camera. Built around the N100 port system, the NA Alpha 1 supports a wide variety of Sony FE mount lenses, as well as EF mount lenses via adapters. The WACP-1 and WACP-2 achieve ultra-wide 130-degree fields of view with reduced distortion over conventional optics, while featuring an almost 0-inch minimum focus distance, zoom-through capabilities, and unbeatable corner sharpness at even wide-open apertures such as f5.6. Venerable Sony A7S II was the go-to camera for low-light imaging. With the A7S III, Sony has improved not only that signature capability, but also upgraded its autofocus and video specifications. The A7S III's 12.1 megapixel CMOS sensor and Bion's XR image processor delivers internal recording of 10-bit 422 4K video and an autofocus system that promises sensitivity down to -6 EV. Dual native ISO at 640 and 12800 in the S-Log2 profile, as well as major improvements to the underwater white balance capability, ensure that the A7S III will continue to set the bar for mirrorless underwater video. The NA A7S III is designed to maximize the video-centric capabilities of the Sony A7S III camera while maintaining its strong still image potential. The NA A7S III features an M24 bulkhead to support an HDMI 2.0 connection for using external recorders and monitors such as the Atomos Ninja 5, which can record the A7S III's 4K 60p RAW signal in the ProRes RAW format. The NA A7S III is built around the N100 port system that is shared with the rest of the Nauticam housing lineup of the Sony full-frame mirrorless A7 series. The N100 system includes a full range of both macro and wide-angle ports. Expanding the possible lens and port options even further, the NA A7S III can also use EF mount lenses and the N120 Canon EF port system when used with the N100 to N120 port adapter and a Sony E to Canon EF lens adapter. As well as delivering access to the lineup of Nauticam's professional wet optics that are optimized for underwater imaging, such as the WACP and SMC lenses. The Canon R5 is truly a hybrid shooter with a full-frame 45-megapixel CMOS sensor that can also record 8K UHD footage at up to 30 frames per second internally. Canon's exceptional underwater white balance is mated to an improved dual-pixel autofocus system whose 1053 autofocus points cover almost the entire image frame. The NA-R5 underwater housing follows suit with Nauticam's drive for innovation. The NA-R5 presents shooters with the ability to use both legacy EF lenses via an adapter in addition to native RF optics. Our mission-controlled design philosophy extends to the NA-R5, where a dual thumb lever and dual sub lever are placed by the right handle. The upper thumb lever activates the AF on and the lower the Q buttons, while the sub lever corresponds to the manual function and record buttons. Near the left handle is a thumb lever for playback, as well as a dedicated switch to change from using the LCD to the EVF. An additional control wheel is located on the left side of the housing, which interfaces with the control ring on the EF to R mount adapter with control ring using an optional gear. When using the EF to R adapter with drop-in variable neutral density filter, the control wheel can be used to adjust the ND level. Flash triggering is achieved via one of two optional flash triggers, a manual LED trigger or a TTL flash trigger that uses the built-in fiber optic bulkheads with optional fiber optic cables to trigger supported strobes. The Nikon D6 is the latest flagship DSLR, following up the D5, adding to that model's already impressive autofocus with the brand's fastest autofocus to date. The 20.8 megapixel FX format sensor has an ultra-fast 14 frames per second continuous shooting speed and ultra-low light capabilities thanks to the latest X-Speed 6 processor. The Nauticam NA-D6 builds on the robust NA-D5, also using the same N120 Nikon F-mount port system. Designed with ease of setup and intuitive control placement in mind, the NA-D6 provides direct access to essential controls within easy reach of the ergonomic handles. Assembly, as well as media, battery, and port changes are fast and easy, making sure you don't waste time out of the water. The NA-D6 ships with the integrated self-powered manual LED flash trigger or an optional TTL trigger, which provides reliable optical triggering of external underwater strobes. Maximizing image sharpness while reducing unwanted distortion is what Nauticam's premium professional optics are all about. When used with FX format wide-angle lenses such as the Nikon 16-35 f4, the WACP2 increases field of view from 105 degrees to 128 degrees, all while improving corner sharpness for a given aperture and rendering a more natural-looking image. The Nauticam NA Z7 II housing supports both the Nikon Z6 II and Z7 II cameras, which share identical bodies and control layouts but differ significantly in their feature sets. The Z7 II features a high-resolution 45.7 megapixel FX format sensor, while the Z6 II is built around a high-sensitivity 24.5 megapixel FX format sensor. The NA Z7 II is truly a hybrid system and is designed with both the still and video shooter in mind. Essential controls are within easy reach of the ergonomic handles, including a dedicated switch for moving between the LCD monitor and EVF. The large-bore M28 bulkhead offers HDMI 2.0 capability when using external monitors and recorders. Flash triggering by the integrated fiber optic bulkheads is handled by the pre-installed LED manual flash trigger, which can also be upgraded to a TTL-capable version. The NA Z7 II uses the N120 port system, shared with Nikon full-frame DSLRs. When using F-mount lenses, the Nikon FTZ lens adapter is contained within the housing, which means the port configuration is the same as it would be on a Nikon DSLR. The Nikon Z50 features a 20.9 megapixel APS-C sensor paired with the Z lens mount found on the full-frame Z series cameras. This larger mount diameter means smaller and faster lenses. The Z50 is also a capable video rig, capturing UHD 4K at 30 frames per second using the entire sensor width, meaning no loss in field of view. Control placement is intuitive and prioritizes ease of use. Essential controls are placed within reach of the ergonomic handles. The Z50's pop-up flash can be used inside the housing to provide accurate TTL flash triggering of external strobes via integrated fiber optic bulkheads. The Z50 uses the N100 port system that's been the staple of other mirrorless systems, such as the Sony A series and Fujifilm X-T3. The WWL1 or WWLC work with the stabilized Nikon ZDX 16-50 to deliver a fully zoom-through capable system with a stunning 130-degree field of view at a minimum focus distance of essentially zero. Nikon's new flagship full-frame mirrorless Z9 promises to be one of the most powerful hybrid imaging platforms available. A 45.7 megapixel FX format sensor paired with the new X-Speed 7 processor promises true no blackout 20 frames per second RAW with AF that works all the way down to minus 8.5 EV and features advanced 3D subject tracking. The X-Speed 7 processor also allows for 8K UHD 30p internal recording with advanced heat dissipation to prevent overheating. 10-bit 4K UHD can also be recorded with full pixel readout or with a 2.3x crop factor, exceptional for getting even more macro magnification. Future firmware updates promise 12-bit 8K 60p in either Nikon's RAW format or ProRes RAW HQ. The Nauticam Z9 embodies the experience gained by producing professional housings for Nikon's flagship DSLR and mirrorless cameras. Essential controls are placed within easy reach of the ergonomic handles, and easy setup means more time in the water and less time working on your rig. The Z9 uses the N120 port system for Z-mount full-frame lenses. When using F-mount lenses, the FTZ adapter is inside the housing, allowing for the same port configuration as on an F-mount DSLR system. Nauticam's premium professional optics allow for maximizing the image quality of the Z9. The WACP2, when used with the Nikon Z 14-24mm lenses, provides a stunning rectilinear 140-degree field of view and full zoom-through capability. With the GFX100S, Fujifilm has brought its amazing medium format sensor system to a form factor approaching that of full-frame mirrorless cameras. The GFX100S is a successor to the GFX100 and maintains the 102 megapixel BSI CMOS sensor, but adds improved stabilization and an autofocus system that covers nearly 100% of the image frame. When it comes to video, the GFX100S is capable of recording 4K 30p UHD video from the full sensor width, meaning no loss in field of view. Controls on the GFX100S are placed where they are most accessible from the ergonomic handles. Dedicated thumb levers for AF on and the customizable Q menu are also within easy reach. Nauticam's housings are engineered to make setup as easy as possible. No controls need to be preset before placing the camera into the housing, and camera trays are easy to mount and securely lock in place inside the housing. Flash triggering is handled by the optional Fujifilm EF-X20 TTL flash unit and Nauticam's integrated fiber optic bulkheads. For the best possible image quality, essential when working with 102 megapixels, the GFX100S can be paired with not only the extensive lineup of N120 ports, but also with our premium professional optics. The Laowa 17mm f4 GFX 0D lens, when used with the WACP2, achieves a stunning 140-degree rectilinear field of view with an almost zero minimum focus distance.